Hey guys, so I was just playing a game on chess.com, a rapid game, and when I was looking at the game review after the game, I noticed that I had 3 brilliant moves. And that's not that impressive. I've probably played games in the past where I had 3 brilliant moves. But the interesting thing about this game was that the brilliant moves were the exact same move 3 times in a row. If that doesn't make sense, stick around. I'm going to show you this game and explain how I got the triple brilliant move.
By the way, I have a cold, so if I sound like this the whole video, I do apologize, but let's jump right into the game.
All right, so here we go. We had d4, knight f6, knight c3, g6. I have actually been playing the King's Indian exclusively against d4 recently. I'm putting together a course, by the way, that will be coming very soon. You guys voted on the poll, and that's what was decided. So I'm actually learning it myself as I put the course together, and I've got to say, it's actually coming together nicely. So this is, we kind of transposed here into the perk, or the Pierce, however you want to pronounce it, where the standard King's Indian is the pawn over here would be on c4. So it would be like d4, c4, knight c3, e4. In this case, he just immediately went for knight c3. So that's the major difference, that there's not a pawn on c4 here. And then this is kind of one of the standard lines where you create this battery, try to castle pretty quickly, and then usually like throw these pawns at the king side. So I played bishop g7, castles, and one of the things that I didn't want to do here, and even though I think it's totally playable to castle right away, I wanted to wait a little bit, because like I said, if they do just throw these pawns, your king is basically stuck over there. If I kind of wait a little bit, you know, h4, g4, h5, maybe it's not so scary because my king hasn't even gone over there. So I was going to delay it a little bit and start my sort of queenside attack, because I know that white's king is going to be on the queen side, right? So that's why I played c6. And this guy didn't even wait around. This is a good move, by the way. Just played e5 right away. I think I was supposed to actually play e5 myself here, or at some point. Let's see, when was the right moment to play e5? Yeah, maybe it was right here instead of bishop g7. Yeah, just e5 is pretty nice for me here. And if takes, let's see, what's the line here? Bishop e3. And then actually not even fianchettoing the bishop is what the engine likes. So like bishop either to c5 or b4. So kind of interesting. I still need to go through all the theory on the Pierce. I haven't done that yet. So I was kind of just winging it at this point. So c6, e5, and I decided to go knight h5 to try to attack that bishop. You know, one of the things when you fianchetto this bishop in the King's Indian, if you can ever trade off that bishop, it's usually a good thing, because then your bishop is kind of unopposed, and it's can be very strong long term as the game goes on. So that's what I was trying to do. Of course, he didn't let me do that. Came down here and is trying to trade. So I went ahead and traded this off. Basically, by trading here, I didn't want the e file to get open and have my king there. I would rather the d file, because I felt like it was safer for my king. So that's why he threw in the trade and then recaptured. And I do want to get out of this pin here, because I can't move my knight anywhere, right? Or I'm just, sorry, I'm just losing my queen and mate. So I played queen a5 so that at some point in the future, I'm going to probably castle, or even if I don't castle, now I can actually move this knight. I have the option to move it. So queen a5, f4. So he was defending the pawn on e5. All right. Now I decided, you know what? The center has kind of been opened up. I didn't know if e6 was coming at some point as a pawn sacrifice. Looked pretty risky. So I decided, let's go ahead and castle. Yes, I might get attacked, but my queen is sort of set up and I'm ready to play like b5, b4. And it seemed like I was going to get an attack on the queen side, so why not? Knight f3, there we go, b5, king b1, and I played rook d8, which is not a move that I really wanted to play, but there's a little, what I wanted to play was knight to b6. There's a little tactic here though. If I play knight b6, and this is pretty common whenever there's a queen and a queen on d2, a queen on a5 lined up with the knight on c3 and black castle. So it's kind of a weird setup, but there's this move, knight to d5, that I was afraid of. And the point is that if I take, white can throw in this check and basically get a free pawn, because I have to move over, and then they can recapture my queen, and I just lost my e-pawn. And yeah, I mean, white's just kind of up a pawn at that point. So that's what I was afraid of. And I can't really stop it because, you know, there's a threat on my queen. Like if I try to deal with this by like just defending my pawn, well, then I'm just losing my queen, right? So very annoying tactic. And that's what I was afraid of. So that's why I didn't play knight b6 like I wanted to. That's why I played rook to d8. Now the engine is actually saying that b4 is a good way. And the same idea doesn't actually work, because now I can just take the knight. There's no attack on my queen. So in hindsight, probably should have played b4. You know, the downside of rook d8 is I'm putting this knight into a pin. Now I can't move the knight because the rook is going to fall. So not the greatest move, but at least I dealt with this because now I can take the queen. And if they try to do the same thing, the significance is that my rook is not on f8. I don't have to go to the corner. I can go to f8. And after they retake my queen, well, now I'm just winning the piece, right? I'm winning the knight. So that's why rook d8 actually at least dealt with this tactic that I was afraid of. Okay. But anyway, like I said, b4 would have been better. But okay, so rook d8, bishop e2. I played bishop b7. I wanted to defend my rook again so that now my knight is no longer pinned and I can move it somewhere. Probably I wanted to come over here and just start attacking on the queen side. Okay, so queen e3. He gets out of the discovered attack on the, with the rook there. And I played knight b6, kind of just following through with my plan. And then g4. So, white's attacking me and I'm attacking over here. All right. b4, knight d4, knight to d5. And I thought I was doing pretty well here. I thought, okay, I've got the tempo on the queen. This pawn looks very annoying. Like, it's kind of hard for white to push anything forward here. And I'm going to just, this is a nice outpost. They can't do this because I can en passant. This pawn looks like it's becoming weak. Maybe this knight can come in. I felt pretty good. And then he plays queen c5. And I was afraid that if I take this, well, now this knight is actually really annoying because what do I do about my bishop? Probably have to go back to c8. It looked really passive. Now, turns out, looking at it with the engine, this is totally fine for me because I'm actually attacking two things. And I don't think white can actually deal with that, so I'm going to potentially win a pawn. Actually looks pretty equal. Evaluation is bouncing around. Anyway, I was afraid of that. So I decided to play queen b6. And, my idea was I had to move my queen somewhere, right? He was going to take my queen. And here, if he takes me, well, I'm going to take back with the pawn, unleashes this rook. My pawn takes away that c5 square from the knight, so I don't have to worry about that. This knight doesn't really have anywhere good to go. That's what I was planning. And of course, he doesn't have to take me. He did not. Played bishop to c4. Very tricky move, because when I first looked at it, I'm like, okay, so of course, there's an attack here. And then if I move the knight, there's going to be pressure here, maybe queen e7. And the queen's going to come over, right? But I thought, okay, I play here. If the queen takes, I take on c4, and there's no more bishop to attack f7. I'm just winning a piece, or at least that's what I thought, right? Problem is, after queen takes, he traded first, which didn't change the position too much. Computer likes just leaving the rook there, but he traded, queen takes c7. I took on c4. I thought I was fine. And then this move happened. Knight to f6 check. I did not even think about this. And the point is, I have nowhere to move except over here. Only move, right? And after that, you could probably see what's coming next. Knight to g5. And now we've got a threat here, which isn't really a big deal. The big threat is knight takes f7. This is actually just checkmate, right? And, it's checkmate because my king can't move. But if I just try to move my knight somewhere, it doesn't really matter. There's still going to be mate because now there's a discovered attack with the queen. Let's see, knight takes d8. And it's mate in 1. Okay, just like our mate in 2. So there was really, I couldn't find any way to stop this threat. Okay, so this is the point in the game where I had a brilliant move. So I invite you to pause the video. I had 3 minutes on the clock, and give yourself 3 minutes if you like. See if you can find the brilliant move. What did I play in this position? All right, well, if you had a chance to pause and figure out what you think the move is, let's go ahead and take a look. And by the way, after about a minute of thinking, I realized that there was no way to stop this. There was either this threat or there was going to be something with the queen happening, and I couldn't find any moves that prevented it, okay? So I decided to sort of think about his king and how can I go on the offensive. And there's, rook here, but it's defended, didn't really see much. There's this knight check, but I didn't really see what it did. And then I finally found the move, knight to a3 check. And the point is that if white tries to take it, well, I take back with check, and now I'm just getting mate, right? Because it doesn't matter where the king goes. This is checkmate, and over here, again, checkmate. So I'm like, okay, that's a pretty good move. And then there's the question of, what about this move? Well, queen e3. Again, checkmate, because the rook covers here, knight covers here, right? So I'm like, okay, feeling pretty good. And then what was played in the game, king a1, I said, well, I can at least go back and forth. And this is exactly what happened in the game. And this is why I had a brilliant move 3 times in a row. So let me see if I can turn on the right, so let me just go back here. And by the way, this was a blunder just because of my little brilliant move follow-up. What white should have played was simply queen takes f7, and I guess for some reason, yeah, it doesn't quite. Oh, because the queen can go back and defend. Yeah, that's why. So now knight a3 no longer works because takes, and then the queen goes here and blocks my queen, right? So that's why queen takes f7 was what white had to play. They played knight g5, and here you go. Check it out. Brilliant move. Brilliant move. Brilliant move. So, yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. Same exact move in a threefold repetition. Brilliant move every time, and it just kind of made me chuckle. I wanted to share that game with you guys. It was, at least it was a nice way to sort of save the game. I was completely getting crushed over here, right? And so if I didn't find the perpetual there, I was just going to lose. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that game. As always, stay sharp, play smart, and take care.